Hi guys, James at Rampant Lion Reviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to head over to Grand Rapids in Michigan in America once again, and we're going to revisit a brewery who are probably one of the better known American craft breweries actually. So we're going to return to Founders Brewing Company. This must be about my 5th review from these guys, and we have the Porter tonight. Now this is a very highly rated beer, 100 overall and 100 within the style on Rate Beer, so it should be pretty good, and as many of you know, Founders are pretty damn good when it comes to dark beers, so I'm really looking forward to having a go at this one actually. First time I've ever tried this, so should be really nice. But anyway, as is usual with my beer reviews then, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery. If you want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my other Founders reviews I've done before. I'm sure I'll add more in the near future. There's all the usual social media. If you want to see more beer reviews, do subscribe to the channel. The whole channel uses a geography based tagging system, so you can search for beers based on country, city or state, whatever you're interested in. There's also playlists of the beers from different countries too. You can check out my whiskey and my sake reviews, and as always, please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries you guys would like to see me review. Always interesting to hear from you guys, and your support is hugely appreciated. So anyway, to tell you a little bit about Founders Brewing Company. So Founders Brewing Company was originally founded in 1997 as the Canal Street Brewing Company in Grand Rapids in Michigan by Mike Stevens and David Engbers, and the two were home brewing enthusiasts, and they'd actually only recently graduated from university at this point, but both had very kind of steady jobs. But they decided they wanted to follow their passion, and so they drew up a business plan, took out some hefty loans and quit their jobs to found the brewery. So in the 1800s, several breweries had actually operated in the Canal Street area of Grand Rapids, and this area is apparently now called Monroe Avenue. The original labels on the Founders beers were black and white, and a photo of the original Canal Street breweries with the words Founders above it, and thus the brewery became known kind of colloquially as Founders Brewing Company, and this name was adopted officially later. But since the mid-2000s, the brewery's grown quite substantially. They had to kind of changed their brewing philosophy, if you like. Apparently before, their beers were kind of quite nice, well balanced, but they weren't really kind of punchy in the way that the Founders beers are today. But these days they're very well thought of throughout the world, in fact, and they're producing about 340,000 of barrels per year, with the sales market constantly growing. These guys export to quite a few different countries. They also have a tap room on site which overlooks the brewery facility, and customers can get a view of them brewing the beer. And they also have their own annual festival which is called Founders Fest, and this is in the street in front of the brewery, and it's basically, they close down the street in front of the brewery. You've got local food, local music, and of course you've got the Founders beers as well. So apparently that's a really good thing to go and see if you find yourself in Michigan in the summer over in America. So something you do want to check out. They've got a whole host of different beers as well. This is one of their regular beers. They've got their seasonals as well. They've got various limited editions, and they do have ones that only ever appear in the brewery as well. So there's quite a host of different things you can try from Founders, and personally I would recommend the things like the Backwoods Bastard and the Dirty Bastard. Those are really nice. The IPAs are supposed to be very good as well. I still need to try those, but so far in my reviews I've found that Founders have really shone when it comes to the darker beers. So have a go at those, especially the Scotch ales actually, and see how you get on. But we'll get stuck into this beer now. It should be really interesting. So this one is the 6.2% porter. It should be really nice. As I said, rated 100 overall and within the style actually, so it should be really good. On the back here it says, pours silky black with a creamy tan head. The nose is sweet with strong chocolate and caramel malt presence. No absence of hops gives Founders robust porter the full flavour you deserve and expect. Cozy like velvet. It's a lover, not a fighter. So yeah, basically they've got this kind of old school woman on the front of this one. I'll just bring up the camera and let you have a little look at the artwork on this one. Quite nicely presented, this, you know, the kind of typical style of Founders artwork there. It says dark, rich and sexy on this one, so I guess this is just meant to be a kind of sexy rich woman from back in the days. This one of course will be based on the London porters. So there you can see the typical Founders bottle cap on this one. Like I said, it's 6.5% ABV, bottled on the 27th of June 2016. So this one is actually fairly fresh when I'm drinking this. So yeah, let's get this guy out then and we'll get on with the tasting. Looking forward to trying this one, as I always do with the Founders beers. So yeah, nice little bit of smoky opening on this one as we get it out and into the glass. It's quite a thick beer that's going to have a lovely head on it. There you are. That's just rising nicely. A nice 2-finger beigey tan head on this beer. It looks absolutely lovely. You can see that there. Lovely 2-finger frothy tan head on that. It really is That's a very, very nice pour. There's some big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass on this one, and I'll just put up the light and let you see the full colour of this beer there. Absolutely lovely looking beer. It's kind of a Coca-Cola colour, this one. There's a few big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass and quite a few little ones just going up towards the bottom of that head there, but it looks exactly as you would expect from a porter. If I put my fingers behind it, I can't see anything coming through it, but that probably is just because of the colour of it. If I hold it up to my thing, there's maybe a slight ruby edge to it, but I think it's fair to say this one it's kind of rosewood ebony. It has that kind of Coca-Cola colour to it, but it looks really, really nice in fact. So let's have a look at the aroma of this one then. Yeah, again, kind of as you'd expect, you know, you've got a slightly almost brown bready malt base to this one. Very, very thin though, but on top of that you're getting some of these toasted black malts. There's a bit of brown sugar in there, toasted brown sugars, caramel and things like that. Woody and slightly nutty character as well. All of it's toasted, of course. A bit of earthy hop, I think, definitely coming out of this one. When you sugar it up, you definitely get more of that earthy hop and more of the kind of coffee bean black malt thing coming out of this beer. No red fruity esters or anything like that. There's a bit of sort of sweet chocolate coming out of there too. It's dark chocolate rather than milky chocolate with this one, I think. But a really, really nice smelling beer, this one. It's not too punchy, the aroma, I should say. Definitely not a big punchy aroma. But it's got some really nice characteristics too. I always find that with the Founders beers. They're always big in the flavour, but not that big in the aroma a lot of the time. They can be quite complex, but they're really not very punchy in the aroma. Maybe that's different with the IPAs, but that's what I've always found with the dark beers with Founders. But take a little bit of time and enjoy the aroma of this one before you get stuck into it, and just try and pick out all these different notes. There's maybe a little bit of vanilla coming out of this one as well once my nose adjusts to it a little bit. But a very, very nice smelling beer, so let's get stuck into this one then. So this one is the Porter from Founders Brewing Company in Grand Rapids over in Michigan in America. Slange. That's really nice actually, really nicely done. You know, as you would expect from Founders with one of these dark beers, it's very smooth and it's easy drinking, this one. It's given you, the flavour of this is nice how it progresses actually. So as I always say with these dark beers, sugar it around your palate a little bit and just let your whole mouth adjust to it before you start dissecting the flavour too much. But yeah, in the middle of the palate you've got a nice kind of brown bready malt base to this one. On top of that you're getting some of the chocolatey malts in there, but the roasted black malt is just kind of sticking out a bit as you move out towards the edge of the palate. More in the middle of the malty part of the palate, you're getting the chocolate in there. There's a bit of toasted brown sugar as well. But as you would get when you compare porters and stouts, of course, this one is definitely lighter in the mouthfeel than you'd expect for a stout. That's how I always find porters are in comparison to stouts. Yeah, definitely you've got this nice kind of light bready character in there, but very, very light actually, almost like a pale malt, but a black pale malt actually. And you have this nice chocolatey character on top of it, like I'm saying, the roasted kind of coffee bean thing coming out as well, the thicker black malts there, a bit of roasted caramel too, some kind of chocolatey sweetness. I'm not getting so much of the nuttiness or the woodiness that I was getting in the aroma actually. The beer smells a bit sweeter than it comes across in the flavour actually. Yeah, there is maybe a little bit of nutty kind of woody character towards the front of the palate in this, but really it smells a lot sweeter than it actually is. In the back corners of the palate you've got these earthy hops coming out, which is what you expect with this style. They're quite dry at the back of the palate, but then I'm finding as you come further forward you get more of the smoothness from them, but you can feel that dryness just creeping forward a little bit, but really it's a full on kind of earthy hop thing that you're getting from this. But that's a nice beer actually. It is quite enjoyable. This one to me It strikes me as a bit of an old school porter. Many of these porters that you get nowadays have a bit more coffee to them, or a bit more vanilla, or something like this. This one is a lot more of a kind of straight up porter, if you could say that. Yeah, I think it's fair to say that about this one. This one really is a lot more straight up. It's not as complex as some of these ones can be actually, but what it's aiming to do is kind of recapture that old English style, and I think it does that really well. You've got the nice black malts in there. I'm finding that sort of coffee bean bitterness in this is building as you take in more and more of it. The sweetness starts to go away a little bit. You do have a little bit of the chocolate, some of the brown sugars in there as well, but that kind of nice roasted coffee bitterness there is building throughout this beer, and you've got just that light mouthfeel that you expect of these porter beers. And of course, if you have a bit too much of things like vanilla and chocolate in them, they can feel a bit thicker in the mouthfeel and feel a bit more like the stout actually. But I'm not getting much in the way of the kind of red fruity characters from this one that you can sometimes get. It really is just kind of straight up black malt, bit of chocolate, the kind of coffee bean flavours in there, and the nice earthy hops. So it's a really kind of very, very solid porter from Founders Brewing Company, and you know, as you would expect from these guys, they do some really awesome dark beers, and this is another one of them. So this is a beer that you kind of want to have. I think it would be really nice with vanilla ice cream or chocolate cake or something like that. You know, this is a dessert beer for me. I would never session a porter. For me, these are kind of taster beers that you really should enjoy that way. In terms of the mouthfeel, this one, I'd say this is kind of lighter bodied, maybe pushing the mid-bodied category a little bit. It's more of a, there is a slight oily character to it. It does have a bit of creaminess, maybe. But it's quite light in its mouthfeel. It's easy drinking. You've got a good bit of bitterness from the malt base, a little bit of sweetness coming out, and the earthy hops are quite smooth in parts, but there is a little bit of dryness there as well. But overall, another very, very good beer from Founders Brewing Company. And basically with this brewery, you can essentially pick a style that you particularly enjoy, and I'm almost certain that you will enjoy it. I really like the Scotch ales that these guys do, and the old ale that I had, I think it was Old Curmudgeon it was called, that was really nice as well. So keep an eye out for those. Try anything you like from Founders Brewing Company, and I'm sure you will enjoy it. But the porter, once again, is a very, very solid beer, and with a rating like 100 out of 100, you know, that tells you it's a very good beer within its own right, and it's also very good at kind of recapturing that English porter style. So this one is a bit more straight up. It focuses more on these kind of black roasted malts, and like I said, it would be a very, very good dessert beer. So make sure you have a go at it for yourself. So thank you once again for watching my beer reviews. Until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Let me know in the comments section below your own thoughts on this beer and your favourite beers from Founders Brewing Company. Of course, make sure you check out my other reviews, and as always, do go and try some of these Founders beers for yourself. Support your local craft breweries, and make sure you have a go at this one and let me know what you think. Until the next time, it's Slangy just now, and I'm sure we'll return to Founders Brewing Company in the very near future. Have a go at the porter from these guys, because it's pretty damn good. Slangy just now.